So tonight we're going to celebrate various events that happened during the year. And I want to acknowledge the Trophy family for hosting us again. Thank you. Oh, there's the honey man. Hi, honey. Karen, take it away before I get in trouble.
Okay. Thanks everyone for coming tonight. I just would like to start tonight by saying a big thank you to all of the people that helped put Gains together. We have, I think, 13 or 14 of us that are on the core planning committee, and people kind of pop in and out throughout the year based on availability, but everyone is really dedicated to this volunteer-based network that we have started so many years ago and continue to hold these monthly events every month. So I would like to say thank you to Philip Neighbors, Gina Burke, Tom Crane, Sue Lacey, Sabrina Schweier, Samuel Salisbury, Tony Tropy, Scott Myers, Kaylee Foster, David Swirsky, Jessica Myers, Beth Vild, and Leah Heiser. So if we can give them a round of applause. You guys rock. I'm really grateful to have you in my life and that we do this Gains thing together. I thought it would be kind of cool to start the evening, which is very, low-key, and how it's going to unfold is how it's going to unfold tonight. But I thought it would be neat to kind of go back through 2016 and hear the different topics that we covered this year. So these are the topics that we visited this year, each month. So in January, we did Designing the City for People. In February, it was Sustainable Homes. In March, it was Urban Design and Placemaking. And that was our first national speaker of the year. Mark Lakeman from City Repair was brought in, which was a collaboration with the Big Love Network, and that we were so grateful for. We did that meeting off-site over at Summit Art Space because Musica just couldn't hold all of us. It was really wonderful. So that was a fun month. In April, we talked about the local foods assessment, and we got a plan update from the people who were heading that up. In May, we talked about building preservation. June was sustainable mobility infrastructure and designing public spaces with that in mind. And that was our this year's international speaker. We had Gil Penalosa from 880 Cities join us that month. In July, we celebrated the contributions in sustainability of our local immigrant and refugee population. In August, we tackled tactical urbanism. In September, we talked about reshaping health through policy and design, and we heard about the Health in All Policies initiative. In October, we talked about art and sustainability, both social and environmental sustainability. And last month in November, we talked about learning from nature to regenerate our city. So that was a really fun year. It was neat to go back today and think about all of the topics that we covered this year. Yeah, give it up for the Gains Network! Woo-woo. All right, so actually just in the last couple of weeks, we have lost two people that were dear to the Gains Network. Rebecca Wilson and Darwin Kelsey. Is that how you said his name? Kelsey, sorry. And I would like to invite Tom Crane up to talk about Rebecca and her contributions to the Gains Network. And then Philip, if you could come up and talk about Darwin. And let's just kind of, after that, raise our glass to these two people who were really instrumental into the work that we're doing in the greater Akron area.
Rebecca Wilson, she was a student at the University of Akron, an older student, so she got her degree in sustainability, a special sustainability program when she was in her like late 40s. So I met her when she was working on a project with the Passive House, and it was the Neo House organization. And she knew a lot about sustainability. She was knew everything about chickens. She knew all about solar power, wind power. She was a consultant that a lot of companies would hire her for. She lived in Austin, Texas for a while, where she worked on sustainable landscaping projects. And she was so great in terms of interpreting what was real technical information for me about anything having to do with solar, wind, passive house, energy efficient buildings, and she could translate it so well for the average person to understand it. And she started an organization called Sustainable Associates with Lynn Pultea, and they were partners, and they were introducing a product called Wind Pods from Australia. And this is a unit that, instead of mounting a wind turbine on a pole, you can actually have it in a framed box, and you can set it on top of a building, you can set it on bridges, they can be stacked. And she was real instrumental in getting Wind Pods known in Northeast Ohio, and even had a project going on with Tony Tropy to get some Wind Pods up on his buildings here. So Lynn Pultea is continuing with the Wind Pod project and getting some funding from the federal government on it, but just so you know that Rebecca was real instrumental in moving that product along and contributed a lot to it, and she was a real active Gaines member, and we'll really miss her. She was a really great person. So.
I'm a crier, so I'm going to have to cry a little bit. So Darwin I met, like 20 years ago, and he was the guy that was helping transform the unused farms in the national park and making them available for bid and putting farmers on them. And so in the process, he had to deal with so much bureaucracy. I mean, he was the guy, he was the chip you'd install to deal with government bureaucracy and, visionary thinking in, get through the government bureaucracy and get outcomes. It was ploddingly slow and painful and detailed, the work he did. I'm so allergic to that work that I was totally in awe of him, but we got along right away, but we'd always find ourselves at the most obscure conferences. Like, he'd be the one guy I knew from Akron at some conference, some sustainable conference, some alternative farming conference. And I wasn't the only person that he addressed this way. Apparently anybody that was male he addressed this way, but it was like, dude. It wasn't like surfer, stoner dude. It was more of a white man's dude. But I would really like to make a bunch of buttons with his face on it that said dude. Countryside Conservancy went on to do farmers markets. And the one at Howe Meadow has been going on for some time. The one in Akron has been bouncing around for years, but it's been in Highland Square for the last 3 years. But when Darwin wanted to do it in Akron, he needed a sponsor. So we wrote him a check so we could do it. They did it down by the Beacon Journal. Darwin was no spring chicken, but he wasn't old either. It wasn't time for him to go. And to me, it illustrates how fragile and perishable is our life. And it's why we got to go for it. You know, don't wait. Don't wait to tell somebody you love them. Darwin Kelsey.
Beautiful tributes. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Philip. To Darwin and Rebecca. Raise your glass. Here, here. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming tonight. So tonight, we want to celebrate what you accomplished in 2016. We invite whoever to come up and take a couple of minutes and share your accomplishments, your success stories with us. And we put it out in the newsletter and on Facebook that people could send in pictures and kind of a summary of what they've accomplished if they weren't going to be here tonight, or even if they were going to be here tonight and they didn't want to get up, we'd read it for them. So I think I'll just start with a couple of those. But first I want to say, this is what we did last December at our holiday gathering, and that was a really cool thing. Thanks for putting that together, Beth. As I was going through the pictures today and putting this together, it was fun to see that. All right, so this is from Mike Owen, and he sends the following message. Hola, happy holiday to the 330 doers. My fave project this year was to dig out small park at Aggie's house at the intersection of Furnace and Howard. She was a true North Side irregular. She will always be remembered for her purple and green home on the hill. Keep grinding, all. We are moving forward. Peace from the South. He is in Florida right now. Is Teresa from Stark Fresh here? No? Okay. I will read that one. This is a before and after picture. Yep. Yep. This is from 2016. We were approached by the City Parks Department of Canton in November of 2015 to take over an abandoned park space. We agreed, not really knowing what we were going to do. The stars aligned and we received monies for 2 hoop houses. With a ton of help from volunteers in our community, we were able to transform a forgotten park into a food-producing wonder. We partnered with ICANN Housing Solutions, stable housing for individuals with mental illnesses, and created a work skills training program using seeds to teach basic work and life skills for their residents. It was hugely successful, and we are looking to expand the program. Let's give that a round of applause, even though they're not here. Very cool. All right. Miss Julie, you want to come on up? No? Do you want me to read yours? Okay. This is Miss Julie's kitchen. They completed another successful summer youth experience program teaching urban youth hands-on about organic produce growing, cooking, nutrition, selling, canning, job, and life skills. And they won an award, as you can see in the bottom right corner. So let's give it up for Miss Julie. Beth, you want to come up and talk about Big Love? No.
So all the things that we've done this year would not be possible if it wasn't for all of you and for the Gaines Network. So I first want to give you guys a round of applause. So this is the first year that the Big Love Network actually started doing some programming year-round and not just an annual festival. So we did Akron City Repair. If you were involved with Akron City Repair in this room, please raise your hand. Yep. So again, thank you, Gaines. And we were able to implement or do Akron City Repair in 4 different neighborhoods around Akron: North and Howard, Crosby and Oakdale, Broad and East Market, and Edison and Long. So that's 4 sides of town that we were able to implement the beginning of Akron City Repair, and it was wildly successful. We also had evening programming that we had long discussion panels. We've also really worked hard at having expanding our zero waste focus and helping other festivals become zero waste focus, as well as we're now in talks with the city around creating a sustainability conference, which is very exciting, and we will keep you guys in contact about what's going on there. And as well as we had a Rock Love Vote event that was pretty successful and was a great way to celebrate voting at each one of our city repair sites. And our festival reached an all-time new high of 4,000 people at Summit Art Space. And so we had a very successful year. I know that since November, people have had a really difficult time at seeing how this year has been a positive. But for us at Big Love Network, the problem is part of the solution. And so now we hope that people feel a little more awake, a little more like they want to be engaged. And we are working to start helping people become actively engaged on a local level, which is what we know really matters. So thank you very much for Gaines for all of your support and your love, and none of this would be possible without all of the people here. So thank you.
Oh, Wesley, Brent, there he is from Akron Honey Company.
Hey everybody. Yeah, everybody doing all right? Yeah. What are we talking about? Our year?
Yeah.
Our year in review.
Yep.
Usually at your job you don't like to get reviewed because it means you may not get a bigger raise as you thought you would. But it's been a good year, you know. I don't know. Been through a lot this year, a lot of great opportunities. You know, over 3 years ago, I started off with one vacant lot, turned it into a bee yard. If y'all don't know me, my name is Brent Wesley. I just go by West. I'm a beekeeper. So, like I said, 3.5 years ago or so, turned a vacant lot in West Akron into an apiary, which is just a bee yard. And since then, I don't know, like I learned a lot, learned how to keep bees, learned how to harvest honey in a very unique and hard way that kind of treats honey like wine. So if you ever taste Akron honey, most people say like, what did you do to it? I'm like, no, I just figured out how to harvest it in such small batches and measurable batches that it has its own identity. So, you know, I found that each batch has its own identity, and that's because of the flowers, obviously. So I bought another vacant lot in East Akron, and lo and behold, that gave us red honey. And so I found out how to micro batch that as well. So, and that was a few years ago, but over this past year, we got a big opportunity, and we got on a national stage, and was featured on Cleveland Hustles. If you've never heard of it, it's this reality show, LeBron James, CNBC. We made it through all these rounds. It was hard work, and it's annoying having like someone follow you around all day, and you're trying to work, and you're working full time and at the same time. But we ended up winning the show. And we get a large investment, but we have to move up to Cleveland. And for many reasons, one of which being Akron is where Akron Honey Company should be, I had to turn down a very, very large investment in order to stay here in Akron. And I tell you, it's worth it. Thanks. Thanks. I thought about, it's funny, on the way up to Cleveland for the final shoot, where I thought I was going to say yes, but turned out I said no. On the way up there, I was like thinking, you know, if I said yes, I got like 4 or 5 investors behind me, $200,000, I can kickstart this thing, no problem. But if I said no, you know, I don't have those investors, but I have an entire city behind me, which is what's happened. It's actually, I appreciate all the support. Excuse me, thanks. I appreciate all the support I've gotten over the last, you know, several years with what I'm doing. I mean, usually if you know, have a bee yard pop up next door, someone's gonna call the fire department or somebody on you. And it's just been the opposite. But since that show, as a result of the show, I realized that we needed to go into skincare very heavily. So you may be familiar with like a Burt's Bees. Just imagine that, but more, how should I say, nowadays kind of wholesome with more of the community in mind and making people and places better, not like making money exclusively. So we went heavy into skincare, and we opened a first, it was 2 weeks ago, I think. We opened our first skincare micro-production facility across from Luigi's right here in Akron. So it's really kind of taking shape, and what it is, it's called Akron Honey Company Forage, and forage meaning, you know, that's the word that describes an animal going out and getting food and bringing it back or getting provisions or whatever. Forage for us is pretty much an experiential, actually our first experiential location for the skincare. So right now we're doing R&D, research and development for like 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So it's not like we're going to be selling a whole lot. We're instead going to be learning what we should be making, who we need to be targeting this to, and then getting it out there and getting it, you know, stretching way far beyond Akron. But we're still going to be doing it from right here. And after we get that done over time, if you can kind of recall like what a microbrewery is like, so you can go there, experience, taste, touch, feel, play, all that stuff. It's going to be the same thing, but just skincare. So it's working out pretty well, and I got to give a huge shout out to Miss Karen. Karen designed what it looks like in there. So, oh, here it is. So it was right behind me. I'm like, this should be a slide. I'm like, oh, there it is. So this is what it is. It's DJ Forrest is on the left-hand side right there. He owns Calhoun Records, which is in Akron. And this is me to the right in front of the glass that's in front of the showroom floor at the, I don't know, is that the Millworks building? What is it called? I don't know what it's called. It's a building across from
the old Akron Glassworks.
Yeah, old Akron Glassworks. So we took it over, did a ton of demolition, redid everything, beautiful floors, beautiful walls, and Karen made it look wonderful. So you've introduced me to ryegrass, and I'm not going to stop saying that. That color is awesome, ryegrass. And so that's kind of where we're at. And I mean, really, the reason why I do what I do is because of Akron kind of like makes you do it. So, yeah. But yeah, I think that's it, all right?
That should be
all
our
right.
tagline.
Thanks.